I'm Brittany Umar. Welcome to the Nooner. We can't wait for spring training. The only thing on TV right now is awful reality shows. First things first, we have a few wrap-up notes from the Super Bowl. Saints coach Sean Payton got real close and personal with the Lombardi Trophy, saying, "This thing laid in my bed next to me. I rolled over a couple of times and I probably drooled on it, man." This morning, Sean Payton checked into the old sex addiction hotspot in Mississippi and was placed in the bunk for the really weird ones. Drew Brees spent the day after doing something much more wholesome. He took a trip to Disney World. Everyone looks happy right here, but seconds after this picture was snapped, disaster struck. Fallon got a concussion thanks to that flimsy helmet from the NFL, and then when Goofy leaned over to help his friend, the gun tucked into his yellow waistband went off and shot him in his own leg. See you in 1.5 to 2, Goofy. Oh look, he's already trying to Shawshank his way out. Moving over to baseball, the Brewers have announced that they are erecting a statue of current commissioner and former owner Bud Selig outside their stadium. The Selig statue in Milwaukee will be followed by the construction of a Selig effigy in Montreal. Another day, another rumored fling for A-Rod. According to OK Magazine, he's now hooking up with Cameron Diaz. Judging by box office numbers, I thought no one saw Cameron Diaz's last movie, but apparently A-Rod did. Speaking of sex addicts, we mentioned that Steve Phillips was on the Today Show yesterday as he begins the image rehab that always follows the sex rehab. In the old days, it was just cigarettes. Anyway, he tried to explain that addiction comes from, quote, shame and trauma that occurred from childhood. So kids who became Mets fans in 2003 are pretty much Speaking of past Mets, the team hired a lovable Mook and a total Melvin yesterday, bringing in Mookie Wilson as a minor league base running coordinator and former Diamondbacks manager Bob Melvin as a professional scout and extra axe to hang over Jerry Manuel's head. Mike Pelfrey, coming off what he's called a terrible season, has lost a ton of weight in an effort to up his game. Sadly for him, the weight was not Luis Castillo, so his game will stay exactly the same. According to the New York Times, several Knicks are quietly growing resentful of David Lee's budding stardom. Howard Beck reports players feel Mike D'Antoni favors the fan favorite forward just because he's a healthy, hard-working scorer who fights for rebounds and isn't fat, hurt, and bitching all the time. Well, that's all we got for today. Before we go, my advice to the upset Knicks, it could be worse. You could be Knicks fans who don't get paid to watch David Lee.